Hey everyone, I'm Shannon, a speech-language pathologist at the Child Development Center. Today, we are going to learn how to target speech sounds at home. We know that many children in preschool are working on their articulation abilities and how to produce speech sounds. We want you to know that the tips and strategies used in this video will target the main sounds that we work on in preschool. That includes the F sound, the K and G sound, and sounds at the end of the words. If these are not specific sounds for your child, that's okay. You can still practice any age-appropriate sound with your child using the principles that we're about to discuss. So to begin, you always want to make sure that your child is happy and in a cooperative mood. We want speech sounds to be fun, and we want to practice in a way that keeps our child engaged. This is usually best done by playing a game or having a reinforcing object. After you've established what game or what you're working for, you always want to introduce the target sound. So, you could simply ask your child, what sound are you working on? Or you can introduce the sound to your child. When you introduce the sound, you always want to include the letter, the consonant prompt that's used by the speech team, and how you make the sound. So for instance, I could say, today we are going to work on our F sound. That's our airy sound. We put our teeth on our lips and blow the air out. Whoa! Did you feel the air that came out of my mouth when I made my airy sound? You try. Put your teeth on your lips and blow the air out. You did it. You made our F sound. When we work on the sound as we're introducing it, this is called isolation. That means the sound is only produced by itself. So you could learn many sounds in isolation. Or or k, k, k. All of those sounds have now been practiced in isolation. Once you've learned isolation, you're going to jump up the speech hierarchy to syllables and to words. When you work on syllables, that's usually a consonant and a vowel, or a vowel and a consonant. So you're going to say fe, fi, fi, fo, or eef, off, oof, and you've now practiced in syllables. After syllables comes words. But when we think of words, we have to consider that there are sounds in the beginning of words, in the middle of words, and at the end of words. So be sure that you're choosing one of those positions to work on with your child. And yes, it's perfectly natural for your child to show greater levels of success in one position over another. In fact, most children, but not all, produce the sound at the end of words first. It's easier. So you can start with the end of words, or you can try the beginning, but just make sure you've picked a sound position where your child is able to correctly produce your target sound. Once you have chosen the specific position to target, you can start providing different prompts and cues. So, if your child has just been practicing in isolation and you're trying to get them to use the target sound in words, you can do what we call a segment or a bridge. So you're basically going to break up the word into two different parts. So if we look at our practice cards here, we would say li, and really exaggerate that target sound, that F sound at the end of the word. Or you could say bike and get that on there. This is great for tail sounds because the sound is already at the end of the word. You have the head of the animal and the tail's at the end. So we have to be sure to add the tail sound. Bird. And you're providing that bridge, that segment, to be able to correctly use the sound in words. You can also do this in the beginning and in the middle. So we could say ood or k, ow as you're practicing your sounds. If it's in the middle, you could say rocket or coffee, and really provide opportunities to emphasize the target sound and the correct productions. Eventually, you want to fade away those segments to where your child achieves a more natural production. Simply saying coffee, rocket, and it's just more of a single word with the correct production of the sound. You can also provide opportunities for your child to fill in the blank with an isolated form of the sound if that's all they're able to do. So you can practice by saying the beginning part of the word, lee, and then have your child add f, where they're getting that repeated practice of still making their correct target sound. If your child is practicing in the beginning and they say k, tow, or booed, that's adding the incorrect sound in the middle, and we want to avoid this. So you can again have them say k, and you could add on the ow, cow, and model it after you've both worked on the segmented production together. After you've achieved correct production in words, then you're going to start listening for phrases, sentences, and hopefully spontaneous conversation. As you begin working on phrases, I think it's quite fun to make up a silly sentence, and most of the children do too. So as you have your practice targets out, you can start putting them together. For instance, you could say, the cow rides a bike, and listen for those sounds. Or you could say, the leaf drinks coffee, and it'll be quite fun for the kids to come up with silly sentences while still focusing on their target sound. If you hear one and you hear, the cow rides a bike, you could say, oh, wait a minute, I heard cow rides a bike. Let's try that again. The cow rides a bike. And have the child practice one more time. Our ultimate goal is to have children produce the words independently. So you may have to start by saying the word every single time with them and fade it back to where they're at least trying the word by themselves, and then if it's incorrect, you'll provide that model. What we don't want is to demand correct production or continuously point out that the children are making their sounds incorrectly. This will decrease their confidence, and it will probably make them not want to continue to participate. So while we do want correct productions, just make sure that you're meeting the child at those levels, whether it's isolation, syllables, words, phrases, or conversation. We want to always provide many opportunities for practice. The more opportunities of correct practice that you have, the greater the likelihood that they will continue to move up that speech hierarchy and learn to produce the sounds independently. So if you're working on sounds, you can practice 2 to 5 times each single word. So you could say, oh, here's a bike. Let's practice that 3 times. You tell me, it's a bike, bike, bike. Once you've practiced that, then you can move on to the next ones. You can use the same cards over and over, and again, you're going to incorporate that while playing your really fun games. It's also a great idea to incorporate your target sounds into everyday opportunities. So if you're baking cookies, you could say, wow, I really like these chocolate chip cookies. Did you hear that? Cookie. That has our back sound. We've been practicing our back sound, cookie, and then have your child target that sound during your daily routine. You don't want to overuse this because the child may get bored and not want to work on their sounds. But it is a great way for you to also recall and use that target sound with your child. During your day, you might pick 30 minutes to work on speech sounds, or you may choose to do it twice a week, and that's perfect. When you do, like I said, you may want to use a game. I'm assuming your speech therapist has provided many coloring sheets or word cards, but if not, always feel free to ask for more opportunities to practice at home. You can use the articulation cards to play a memory game or a Go Fish game. Or you can hide the cards around your home and use a flashlight to find them, and then practice the cards as you find them. If you don't have picture cards at home, you can always use a magazine, newspaper, or old book to look through pictures and find pictures that have your target sound. You can cut them out and glue them together and make a soundboard to keep practicing your sounds at home. You can also play reinforcer games. So by practicing your good sound, you can get a sword for the pop-up pirate. Or if you're working for blocks to build a big tower and then knock it down, you can work for the blocks by getting 10 productions and then getting a block. But just make sure that you're keeping it fun and always keeping your child engaged. I hope that you've learned many great strategies and ideas to work on speech sounds at home. Always know that we would encourage you to reach out to your child's speech therapist if you need any additional resources or if you have any questions. This in no means was meant to replace speech therapy, but only to give you some strategies to use at home. Hope you guys have fun. Thanks.